Good evening. Welcome to the 13th annual, but the first virtual, New Mexico Humanitarian Awards. I'm Ron Siegel, and I'm the president of the Jewish Community Center of Greater Albuquerque. My wife, Meryl, has also served as president of the JCC. So when I was asked to assume this responsibility, I went to Meryl and I said, you know, could you ever have imagined in your wildest dreams that both of us would end up being presidents of the JCC? And Meryl's response was, you don't appear in my wildest dreams. Since 2008, the JCC, in collaboration with our outstanding community partners, has presented the New Mexico Humanitarian Awards to recognize individuals or organizations who've demonstrated an exemplary spirit of humanity. We're deeply grateful for the support of those partners who help make this event possible, as well as for all those who have sponsored tables, whose names will be scrolling across the bottom of your screen, and to everyone who purchased tickets for this evening or otherwise made a financial contribution to our J Forward Fund. Your generosity helps us not only to recognize the remarkable honorees who you'll meet this evening, but also to continue to provide a broad range of services and programs that are open to everyone in our community.
Good evening. I'm Shelley Prant. I am the CEO of the JCC of Greater Albuquerque. We are so happy that you are able to join us this evening in support of these wonderful New Mexicans for their remarkable achievements. On behalf of the JCC staff and all our wonderful, loyal members who pass through our doors every day, we want to thank you for your generous support. We hope that you will visit our online program. By clicking the link on the JCC Facebook page or the JCC YouTube channel, or follow the link on your screen. There, in the program book, you will learn more about our honorees, the JCC in general, and fantastic partners like you. As a reminder, thanks to you, for every ticket purchased, we will be providing a meal for those in need through our collaboration with our wonderful partners at HopeWorks. Here is more information about HopeWorks.
HopeWorks and the JCC have enjoyed, I would say, a friendship over the last several years. One of the ways the JCC has partnered with Hope Found is by providing a dining room table, which is such a wonderful picture of a fellowship and family life is sitting around the table. But the fact that the JCC has specifically partnered around the kitchen table and other kitchen accessories has been just incredible, really. So every family that moves in, that we help move in, the JCC comes alongside and provides the kitchen accessories. And so that's really been a profound statement of family life that the JCC has been able to provide for all of the families that have been coming into the Hope Found program.
JCC's collaboration with Hope Found, but we also partner with the JCC at the day shelter, and they've been coming and serving meals once a month. Obviously now we've had to be a little bit creative with how we do that, but that partnership is really integral. Our day shelter annually serves about, I would say, between 130 and 140,000 meals, and the only reason we can do that is because of partners like the JCC. As an agency, the work that we do across so many different programs, we serve about 10,000 people every year. But in particular for me, I would say the shelter has always been very special, and I think it's because when people don't have basic needs or they're denied basic needs, what do they have? I mean, that's a right that everybody deserves. We've done the social distancing. We only allow 5 people in at a time. You know, people eat outside. There's markers on the floor so that we know people are staying apart. And we were monitoring for symptoms and working with various partners, including Healthcare for the Homeless, to make sure that folks were getting tested that needed to. Thank you to everyone who purchased a ticket, because each ticket translates into a meal being served at our day shelter. And you know, for me, I grew up in Indian culture where meals were so important, and I really feel like meals have the power to transform someone's spirit. And so, you know, every time a client comes in and they have a meal, it opens them up to possibility. They feel like they're loved. You know, we were talking earlier about how we miss being able to give each other hugs. And the thought that popped into my mind was, well, there are other ways to show love. There's other ways to wrap your arms around someone, and a meal is one of them.
This year, the JCC is celebrating an important milestone. For the past 2 decades, the J has been a part of the Albuquerque community and a home away from home for so many in our community. This wouldn't be possible without the support of our members, donors, and community partners. In fact, I'm reminded of the banners that flew in our parking lot when we first opened our doors 20 years ago that said, "You belong here." That's still true today. We certainly didn't expect that our 20th anniversary would be marked by face masks and social distancing, and that makes your unwavering support so special. We thank all of our sponsors for this evening, including Nusenda Credit Union, Hub International, New Mexico Bank and Trust, Bank of America Merrill Lynch, and French Funerals and Cremations. You'll hear from several of our partners this evening, beginning with Larry Chavez, the founder, president, and CEO of Dream Style Remodeling, tonight's title sponsor.
Great work they do in the community. You know, many programs, anywhere from children to every realm of our community here. So it's a great organization. JCC does great work, and it's certainly an honor to be associated. And so internally, we're very careful. We're very careful with our customers. We use our radio program and our TV commercial to help educate people and remind them. And so it's critically important. You know, it is a big battle that we're all fighting, and I'm certainly pleased to see that you're honoring some of the frontline people, because they're doing such a good job at such a high risk that it's important that they be recognized. We're all in this together, and a breakdown at one person can affect many, many others. And so everybody, if everybody will practice safe policies and procedures, we're going to get through this much sooner. I was thrilled and honored to be selected as an honoree. I've been very familiar with previous honorees, and they're people with great accomplishments and great work in the community and so forth. So I was quite honored to be selected last year. So it's important to us, and of course they are a big part of the communities that we work in. It's important for us to do everything we can to return to the community in many ways. Participation in the humanities program, maximizing the purchases that we make in state. You know, we have operations in 6 different states, but we focus our purchases to the greatest extent possible in Albuquerque and some of the rest of New Mexico. We centralize many of our functions, so those jobs are here in New Mexico rather than in California or Texas or Colorado where we operate. So we're very grateful to those 100,000 plus homeowners that have been the foundation of our success, and we want to return as much as we can.
JCC for French has always just been a no-brainer. And when we strip out the layers of what JCC does, and you already said it, Rich, the arts, the education, the health, it encompasses all parts of life. It's not just a narrow niche market, it's all parts of life. It's how we all live. So we fulfilled our commitments in organizations that support the needs of others. And so we continued giving to charitable organizations that were making an impact directly to COVID situations, directly to homelessness, so that we could support our community through that time. We've had a long relationship with the JCC, and I think going way back years ago, and I couldn't even tell you how long ago it was, but probably in the early stages of the Humanitarian Awards, when it was still a relatively small ceremony, I can remember attending that and learning about the recipients that were being honored at that time, but to hear the stories of the impact in a broad sense, it just clicked at that moment that the JCC was on to something special, on to honoring our community in a broad sense. And that was exciting, and I think that got our team energized about our own sponsorships and partnerships with the JCC. And so I would just commend what the JCC has done for our community and keeping the dream alive, because it started such a humble beginning to where it is today. The first responders have the most difficult job any of us could imagine, especially right now during a pandemic, because there are too many questions, the unknowns. And yes, they're using personal protective equipment and doing what they know how to do, but it's still a risk to themselves and to their families. And many of them have vacated that opportunity to be in their own house with their families to serve our community at a critical time. That is a service above self and taking care of others around you in just an unreal way. And so, for hospital staff, nurses, doctors, the EMTs, nursing home staff, they're doing an amazing job of just caring for our community.
Overall, I would say that Hub International's intent is always to choose relationships and partnerships that we know can help to empower those within our community, enable those that are less fortunate, and specifically helping people reach their full potential within the Albuquerque community. And really crucial when we want to assist those in our communities by giving them opportunities they might not have otherwise had. Hub, on a national and international basis, both in the US and Canada, has a program called Hub Gives. And so overall, we can look at programs that affect the US and Canada, but then we can drill down to the state level and even the local level here in the Albuquerque community. To describe the level of Hub Gives, and obviously that's changed in our virtual world, but we continue to find ways to give back. Just last weekend, we held an event where our employees donated to a local nonprofit for animals in need during this time. And so that was contributions of things like blankets and food, but we're continually looking for ways not just to give money, but to give time. How people have gravitated to this world that we're in and remained very nimble and passionate about the work that they're doing. Some would say by no choice. Nobody really has a choice about what we're doing, but we've focused really heavily during this time on controlling what we can and being very communicative with our staff, with our groups, with our clients, to let them know that we're here as we all find a new way to do things.
Have also stepped up, providing food, resources, and support to our most vulnerable citizens and those serving them. Here at Nusenda, our employees have proven to be committed, courageous, creative, and kind. With their help, we quickly deployed remote capability and flexed our hours and systems to take care of our membership. We provided critical financial grants of our own to community foundations statewide. We also expanded our award-winning co-op capital program to address economic impact of reduced hours, lost work, and crucial services due to the outbreak. We donated hundreds of Girl Scout cookies to first responders and frontline workers. Our corporate headquarters cafeteria switched from making meals for our employees to making meals for volunteers and those who didn't have access to food. Our business services department closed 649 PPP loans to area businesses.
Many thanks to our amazing partners. Even during these uncertain times, the JCC remains true to its mission. Guided by Jewish values, the mission is to enrich and inspire the entire community by offering quality, multi-generational, fitness, wellness, cultural, recreational, social, and educational programs, all in a safe, nurturing, and welcoming environment that is respectful to all. The JCC is so much more than a superior fitness center. The JCC is a venue that gives individuals of all ages an opportunity to participate in a variety of quality programs, a place where relationships are created and friends are made. The JCC is where individuals and families can spend time together in a safe, supportive environment and promote their cultural and physical well-being. In order to support all of these wonderful activities of the JCC, the J Forward fundraising campaign was created based on a need generated during our 3-month closure and due to the pandemic. J Forward is an opportunity to recognize the positive impact we have on our JCC participants and the greater community. The JCC is in need of your support now more than ever. Your donations to the J Forward campaign will help your JCC return even stronger than it was prior to the pandemic and our closure. Through your support, you can help continue the legacy that began 20 years ago. For more information on how you can support the JCC and continue to partner with us, please visit our website, jccabq.org, and click on the large blue donate button at the top of the page. You can also call us at 505-332-0565 and ask to speak to the development office. I would like to take this moment in time to recognize the heart and soul of the JCC, the dedicated and passionate staff. These individuals work hard to provide the best programs at the highest level of service to our members and guests and go above and beyond every day to keep everyone healthy and safe. Our staff have been through some tough times during the pandemic. They have stuck with the JCC through furloughs and reduced hours. We have faced the COVID-19 challenges together as a strong team. I want to personally thank all the JCC staff because you are all so amazing. Next, we'd like to show you a short video of the JCC.
Since 2008, the JCC Humanitarian Awards have recognized those who make a significant difference in our community. Before we introduce tonight's honorees, let's take a quick look back at our previous award winners.
Due to challenges associated with the COVID-19 outbreak, we decided to transition the New Mexico Humanitarian Awards dinner to a virtual format. We expanded the honoree criteria to recognize those within the state of New Mexico who not only demonstrate extraordinary community service, support underserved populations, show leadership, but have provided inspiration in dealing with COVID-19. In addition, one other award that preceded the New Mexico Humanitarian Awards is the Harold B. Albert Jewish Community Service Award. This award recognizes those whose service to the Jewish community reflects the highest integrity, love for others, and commitment to the ideals of Jewish life. To lead us off in recognizing this year's honorees, along with some very special guests, it is my pleasure to introduce one of the JCC's founders and first president, Mr. Harold Albert.
"20 years ago, next month in fact, that we opened the doors of the JCC. And at our first event, I was shocked, is the best word I can think of, by an honor that was presented to me called the Harold B. Albert Community Service Award. And I'm still humbled and honored with this award. But I realize now just how many people either were more deserving, certainly, than I, that this award be given in an individual's name. One such family was Jay Hertz and Helen Gervais. We all know now of the tragic accident that took the life of Jay Hertz just a few months ago. And the community, and the Jewish community in particular, the JCC, is still reeling from the loss of Jay Hertz. Make no mistake about it, the fact that we're still operating, that we're still in existence as a JCC, and have been for all these years, is due in no small part to Jay Hertz. And it's for that reason that tonight, for the first time, realizing what I've just told you, that I'd like to dedicate the Harold B. Albert Community Service Award to the lasting memory of Jay Hertz. It is truly my honor and privilege to present to George and Vivian the Harold B. Albert Community Service Award. Let me read it to you real quickly. The award reads as follows: the Harold B. Albert Community Service Award, dedicated to George and Vivian Skadron, this October 14th, 2020. In recognition of your lifetime commitment to the Jewish community, may your good work and vision serve as an example to others. Awarded by the Jewish Community Center of Greater Albuquerque. No one in our community today deserves this honor as much as George and Vivian.
Well, let me give you some background. My family and I are Holocaust refugees from Vienna, Austria, and we eventually made our way to the United States. And after a few weeks in New York City, HIAS, the Hebrew Immigrant Aid Society, resettled us to Indianapolis, Indiana. And my father was given a job as a delivery man for a small Jewish-owned bakery in Indianapolis. And I, meanwhile, assimilated very quickly to the culture of our street As a matter of fact, only 2 doors down, there was this little kid, Harold Albert, who became, I think, clearly my best friend during that time period.
George and I knew each other when we were teenagers. He was at Purdue and I was finishing high school. Then I went to Indiana University and we saw each other by using the Monon Railway. and then we parted when he went on to graduate school. So our reuniting after almost 40 years was really special for our family and certainly for us. I started as a school teacher in Fort Wayne and then moved into the nonprofit world where I became the assistant executive director of the YWCA in Fort Wayne. We were always very proud of the W in YWCA. And then I left that and went to become the alumni director for Indiana Purdue Universities in Fort Wayne. And when the opportunity arose of the executive director of the Jewish Federation, I grabbed it. And that was certainly the most satisfying period of my life. In 1987, I joined a rally of 250,000 Jews in Washington, D.C., and we were rallying to free Soviet Jews. Gorbachev was meeting with Reagan at the time, and in 1989, he opened the borders for Soviet Jews to emigrate.
We arrived in late 1998, and immediately we sensed the momentum toward building a JCC here at Albuquerque. That drive was spearheaded by my old friend Harold, and I was stunned to rediscover him after all those years. So we got caught up in the momentum. Some people were involved in bricks and mortar issues. Other people were involved in fundraising. We were involved in programming. And we created a whole number of programs, some of them more successful than others.
It's really an honor, especially coming under the name of Harold Albert, because we have this nice connection with Harold. And when we first came, I got quite interested in the building of the JCC. I remember going on some fundraising calls with Harold. So that's certainly an honor, being connected to him. And it is an honor because for me, most of my life has been spent in volunteering for the Jew or working for the Jewish community.
And for me, I would add that it's a humbling experience because I look at the recipients for the 19 years preceding us, and it's hard really to believe that I belong in that category. So it's a thrill, but it is a humbling experience.
Good evening. I am so glad to be able to join you all this evening in recognizing this year's New Mexico Humanitarian Award recipients. I have the pleasure and the honor of having worked actually with both this year's Humanitarian Award winners, Dr. David Scrace and Dr. Carissa Colbreth. And I'd like to express my personal gratitude and respect for you both. This evening, though, I've been asked to say a few words about the remarkable Carissa Colbreth. As the CEO of Tricor, I've worked daily with Dr. Colbreth for over 7 years. And I can tell you without hesitation, Dr. Colbreth is a world-class scientist, and her contributions to science and the medical community are many and great. And it's been true during the pandemic, but it was actually true way before the pandemic, and I'm convinced it'll be true after the pandemic. The scientific achievements are one thing, but this award is about humanitarian achievement, and so I really want to call out, over and above scientific endeavors, Dr. Colbreth has really spent a tremendous amount of time and effort and travel as a mentor and a scientist and an advocate for all sorts of young people in the sciences, especially women in the sciences. She's constantly pursuing public health in her professional career, but as far as science and activism, she does that all over the state and all over the region. And there's really an amazing amount of precious time and energy that she spends to that endeavor, really outside of her daily job. So I just really want to call that out, that her efforts for STEM education, science, technology, engineering and math, her focus on that and to bring people in the next generation is really what this Humanitarian Award is about. So thank you for that, Carissa. Thank you for looking out for that next generation and investing in them. I'm incredibly proud of you, and congratulations, and have a great evening.
At TriCorps, we have to be prepared to serve the state, and we had to be prepared very quickly. So before there were cases in New Mexico, and really when there were only a couple of cases in the US, we were already working to build up our diagnostic portfolio. So by March 12th, our team at TriCorps had validated a test for diagnosis and was working really day and night to be able to have that available very quickly. We had people who worked in finance, people who worked in HR, were coming into the lab and saying, how can I help? What do you need? And they came in, they put on a lab coat, rolled their sleeves up, and they started to help. So our response is we respond to coronavirus with an eye on the future, that the same communities that have been impacted by coronavirus are the communities that have been impacted by hepatitis C, by HIV, by diabetes, by high blood pressure. We have to now position ourselves to respond. When I was in undergrad, I had one of my professors, I went to a historically black college, Fisk University in Nashville, Tennessee, and one of my professors told me, you have neither the right nor the privilege to forget anything I've ever taught you. And that has stuck with me forever. And it's been, it's that ever learning and ever growing part of our journey that we've never quite arrived. And so there's always something to learn, but it's all building blocks. And I can't forget where I come from. I can't forget the lessons that I learned when I was at Longfellow Elementary School or Jefferson Middle School or Albuquerque High School. Like, this is all part of who I am. And so it's not just about the academic part. It's that everything that I know and everything that I am, it's been this building block. And I have neither the right nor the privilege to forget anything. You shouldn't be discouraged about that. You shouldn't be discouraged that you're the only one that cares about this issue so deeply, because maybe you're the answer. And so we should really look into ourselves and find out what are our core values. What are the things that drive us? What are the things that we're passionate about? And what are the things that make you angry? I'm so honored to be able to receive this award, especially for the work that we've done at TriCorps related to our response to the coronavirus pandemic. One of the things that I'm so appreciative of is our team at TriCorps. And although we're a large lab and we serve the state, one of the parts of our strength is that we are New Mexico. We are New Mexicans. And so when we're doing the tests, we're not some national lab that just sees a specimen or a swab. When we are doing our testing, we know that we're taking care of our community and we're serving our community and serving our neighbors and our family. And so this award, as I see all of the little figures here, I really think about our entire team at TriCorps. That this isn't an award that's about me, it's an award that's about a team effort from everybody who's worked at TriCorps, because we want to take care of our community.
Hello, I'm Governor Michelle Lujan Grisham, and I'm delighted that I get to participate in the JCC effort to recognize 2 incredible New Mexicans and 2 incredible humanitarians. Like all of you, I wish we were doing this in person, but I can tell you that the JCC, both its leadership, its members, and the community at large that's supporting your efforts to recognize good deeds, to lead by example, and to make sure that every family in New Mexico gets the services and supports that they need to seize every opportunity, makes you an incredible partner in New Mexico. And for that, I am absolutely and always grateful. These awards in particular mean so much to me, and humanitarian recognition and leadership, we did our very first one in this administration to community members and leaders in Deming for their incredible selfless work in supporting migrant families at the heat of a wave of immigrant families coming over seeking refuge in the United States. But this in particular, this recognition when New Mexico and indeed the rest of the country and world has suffered so greatly trying to combat this pandemic. And frankly, in the United States in particular, where we have 200,000 people we have lost, largely, in my opinion, because of a failed federal effort and lack of leadership. It meant that individuals in states had to do so much more. And quite frankly, every New Mexican that we protect and we save, every business that will be able to succeed through fighting a pandemic, has everything to do with the right kind of leadership inside the state and the kind of private sector, public sector partnership where nobody ever asked whose job it is. So lastly, I want to do a shout out to Dr. Culberth. Early in this pandemic, frankly, before most states were even thinking about testing and drive-through testing and reaching out to populations where we really needed to protect them from a risk of infection or outbreak, our premier lab, TriCorps, our private sector partner, it was Dr. Culberth and others who very clearly and early on talked about a system whereby New Mexico would not only, and in fact we still are, lead in per capita testing, but where she single-handedly figured out, well before we even saw the FDA lean in for different instruments and testing strategies and capacity, she put this state administration in a position to be able to chase and get in the queue for any number of testing commodities. And she supported the Department of Health to make sure that we were leveraging personnel between every private sector health partner and every public health partner to make sure that we could gather the samples. And then last, this is so critical. Nowhere in New Mexico have we had to debate whether it's okay to wait 5 days or 10 days, and in some situations early on, there were some states and some communities who were waiting 12 and 14 days for test results. And in fighting a pandemic, you can't fight it if you don't have any of the information about where the fight is. That's Dr. Culberth, that's TriCorps, that's Dr. Crossy, and that's so many others. But recognizing her early leadership, her commitment to 24-hour, 7-day-a-week service, I hope inspires all of us to be that good. And congratulations, Dr. Culberth. Now, my real job, which is the third thing, is to introduce to you Dr. Grace. And you're going to see, I believe, an incredible video. But I really wanted the opportunity, so thank you, everyone, for putting up with this long set of remarks. I really wanted the chance to talk about Dr. Grace. I've worked with Dr. Grace in both a professional and personal capacity for decades. I have long known him to be truthful, credible, selflessly dedicated to making a difference. He never says no. He accepts every challenge, and he doesn't just do that in what we might say in state government is your lane, so that would be the Human Services Department lane today. He's worked to build and bolster every single system in every single department, whether it's directly connected to COVID or not. Dr. Scrace was the physician I chose, my parents chose, my family members choose when he could still do that. And I believe he still has patients, only none of them are my direct family members anymore. But I can tell you that he would bring options and suggestions and make us feel like we were all working on improving health and dealing with really tough issues like palliative and end-of-life care in a way that makes you feel good even about the toughest decision. What I want everyone in the state of New Mexico to know about Dr. Scrace is when it seemed impossible to stand up both a medical advisory team, to rely on the science, to expand who our partners were, including the labs, to think about strategies that no one was talking about at the federal level. Look no further than Dr. Scrace. He has solved every challenge. He will tell you he's the mathematician in the room. He challenges me, and frankly, he corrects me every single day, whether it's my grammar, my addition or subtraction, or even whether I heard every issue correctly about how we successfully address this pandemic. And so what I really want you to know is I think Dr. Scrace is a friend to every single New Mexican. I don't know how his family can still gracefully and kindly share him with us. I know that you all know that he's working 24/7 and then some. But what I really want you to know is that I feel like in being our friend and mentor and scientist and public health expert, that Dr. Scrace has found ways to help New Mexico beat the odds and successfully combat COVID because he found ways to believe in the power of uniting us all. He found the way to keep even, some of the contentious issues that find their ways in defeating a pandemic and a virus like this in our elected officials, whether it's at the village, city, or county level, or in the state legislature. He is unabashed and unafraid to solve every single challenge and to do it in a way that invites all of us to participate in those solutions. And I can tell you without a shadow of a doubt that if Dr. Scrace was not in a public leadership position, it's as if someone knew we needed exactly that kind of attention to the issues that we were going to be faced with. So tonight, in front of everyone, I get to tell Dr. Scrace how grateful not just I am as the governor, but how grateful all of us in state government, all of us everywhere are for his leadership and for the fact that the way in which you are providing these COVID-related humanitarian awards and recognizing the relationship between Dr. Colbreth and Dr. Scrace speaks volumes about our respect for the scientific community, our public health community, and our physicians and PhDs among us. It's why New Mexico will continue to be so successful. We're going to fight this by being smart, proactive. We're going to follow the data and the science. Congratulations, Dr. Scrace, and thank you again for everything you do every single day to keep us safe and to make a difference.
I'm a student of the 1918 Spanish influenza worldwide pandemic. I read an excellent book by John Barry on it twice. I think I was raised in a family where there was a very strong sense of personal responsibility to give back to the world. The governor is really committed to and made it extremely clear in the very first large cabinet meeting, it was a cabinet retreat, that we would work effectively together with each other, that she wanted to bring state government together as a bigger team, and that she didn't really want individual departments to be protecting their own resources, but she wanted us to be creative and action-oriented and reaching out and working with other departments to pool resources to better serve New Mexicans. And we had a call from CNN a couple weeks ago. I'm talking to Scientific American this afternoon that everybody's questioned now nationally, because they see that same map with us green or yellow and everybody else, is what are you doing? Like, how did you achieve these results? I think the governor in a recent speech talked about us fighting above our weight class, against COVID. And I think that that's true in a state with very limited resources. Everyone has pitched in to do an amazing job in helping to contain this pandemic. And in the end, I think it's really important, and something that's really important to me to say to everybody who's going to see this, is those curves that go up and down, we think that mainly they have to do with the virus, but really the virus and its force is a constant. And those curves as they go up and down are reflective of people in New Mexico banding together as one big team pulling against this virus. I think it's great that we have 6 people here, because it reminds me of the importance of teams and working with a group of people to improve life for New Mexicans. I think about my family, the team I have with them and all of their support. I think about the folks at the Human Services Department and their support, the health secretaries and their support, the governor, her whole team and their support for all these efforts. And so I am really grateful that we have so many people in New Mexico who are so committed and have worked incredibly long hours through weekends and holidays and the like to keep us all safe. And I am going to accept this award on all of their behalf.
Congratulations to each of the 2020 New Mexico Humanitarian Award honorees. Thank you for all you do for our community and our state. Again, we would like to recognize our previous honorees and hope you will go online to our program to see a complete list of the wonderful previous honorees. A very special thank you to Dr. Michael Crossy and Governor Michelle Lujan Grisham for being a part of our very special event this evening. A heartfelt thanks to you who have purchased tables and tickets to be a part of tonight's virtual event. Be on the lookout for more information on our next annual New Mexico Humanitarian Award event in August of 2021. Hopefully that event will be in person with an actual dinner. We also want to thank all of the volunteers and staff who have been on the New Mexico Humanitarian Awards Committee for making this event a success. A special shout out to the fantastic leadership from the committee co-chairs, Art Garnschwartz, and our board president, Ron Siegel. Also, many thanks to Chris Martinez, our marketing director, and Bridget Encinias. And much appreciation and thanks to the incredible Richard Granger, the JCC Development Director. He did an incredible job on this event from start to finish. Thanks so much, Rich. From all of us at the JCC, stay safe, wear your masks, and social distance.
I want to add an additional word of appreciation to ProView Networks for helping us put this program, this production together this evening. They've done an absolutely fantastic job, and we appreciate their help so much. Before we close the program tonight, I want to especially thank Harold Albert for his decision to dedicate his namesake award this year to the memory of Jay Hertz. Jay was the 4th president of the JCC. He served capably and conscientiously at a formative time in the history of this organization. All of us at the JCC feel his loss keenly. I feel his loss keenly every day as a lifelong friend of Jay's. Thank you, Jay, for everything that you contributed to the JCC, and thank you, Harold, for remembering that. And from the bottom of our hearts, thank you who are watching and for being a part of the JCC family. On behalf of the JCC Board of Directors and the JCC staff, have a wonderful rest of your evening. We wish you all the best for the remainder of 2020 and peace, good health, and happiness in 2021. Good night.